Back to school will be very different for kids again for the second straight year. This year, of course, far more students are back in their actual school buildings. But how are districts keeping them safe?
COVID-19 policies vary district to district, and we found out districts cannot require students to get the COVID-19 vaccine. It's not a mandatory immunization like others in the state, but as Madeline O'Neill shows us, districts can track them.
They can, and they're asked to. The state health department wants districts to track COVID vaccines in much the same way they track other immunizations. Districts have different plans on how to do this, but we discovered some won't be tracking at all. No question, the pandemic veered schools off course.
I feel like we've made some really good decisions, even though they're tough and not everybody agrees with them. It's been a good ride.
To make it through another year with COVID-19 as a backdrop, Portage Community School District Superintendent Josh Sween wants to bring safety to the forefront.
It is a personal choice, but I think as a school district, we need to encourage people to get vaccinated.
He says about 84% of his district staff members are vaccinated, and families will be asked to voluntarily report if their students got the shot during registration, which helps with contact tracing.
You know, last year, if you were a close contact, you may not even be sick, but you're out for 14 days. If you get the vaccine this year, you can stay as long as you don't have any symptoms or you don't get sick.
That tracks with the Wisconsin Department of Health Services COVID prevention guidance from this year, which directs schools to establish a process for collecting, maintaining, and using COVID-19 vaccination information because, quote, many recommended COVID-19 prevention strategies rely on having knowledge of the vaccination status of students, teachers, and staff, in addition to other layers of protection.
I'm going to be seeing their smiling eyes and their springing their step as they walk in.
Beloit Superintendent Dan Keyser says the Rock County Health Department is keeping track of student vaccinations.
That helps us kind of measure and gauge where our student vaccination rates are.
In the case of a close contact, Beloit school nurses can access the Wisconsin Immunization Registry for students to provide the right guidance.
The Delta variant is much more contagious, that it spreads more rapidly. So
the state's Department of Public Instruction encourages school districts to, quote, seek parent/family permission to access student COVID vaccination status via the WIR.
We're an educational agency, and so we really want to see schools stay open, be successful.
News 3 Now sent a survey to the about 75 districts in our area. Of the 19 that responded, nearly half had no tracking plan in place or were still deciding at the time of the survey.
Middleton, Cross Plains area, Stone area, and Madison Metropolitan School Districts are among those that won't be tracking COVID-19 vaccinations.
For one, we don't have the ability to do so.
MMSD spokesperson Tim Lamont says there's no tracking system because they aren't mandating the vaccine among staff, and the state hasn't mandated student vaccinations.
We really are relying on our health services department to make all those determinations and contacts as far as tracking and quarantining.
He notes that all districts are different as they navigate the ever-changing landscape of this pandemic.
There's no easy answer.
In Portage, Sween hopes to get back on track and stay there.
I do believe that vaccination is a big part of our push to get kids back in school and to keep the schools open and keep them here in person.
Of course, tracking immunizations is not new territory. Several are required by the state, including vaccines to prevent polio and measles. According to DPI, students falling behind on normal vaccinations during the pandemic is a concern. We'll talk more about that tomorrow night on News 3 Now at 10.